What's up, bro? There we go. Let me see. All right, there we go. All set, all ready to go. Get my phone set up so I can see the comments.
Yeah.
And here they come. What's happening, bro? Happy hump day, guys. Happy hump day.
Aloha no, everybody.
Look, I'm getting a message already. Hey, aren't you guys on tonight? All
We are on right now.
right. I love that. I mean, it's pretty cool when people actually look forward to this show. But anyway, aloha Wednesday, guys. How you guys doing? Seems like it's been a while since we've been on, but it's only been a couple of nights.
Yeah.
Man, my back is killing me today. I don't know why. It's probably because I haven't been doing anything physical. When you get old, man, you get older, the body. I don't know. But anyway, how's everybody doing tonight, people? Gosh, man, I tell you, I don't know about you guys and you, Charlie, but I kind of had I kind of look at the reports now with a different view. Um, I'm not saying I'm giving up. I'm not giving up, but I think we've gotten to the point now, Charlie, where let the chips fall where they fall. Let the chips fall where they fall, because I don't think that there's anything anyone can do now. Um, I really enjoy hearing the stories from businesses that are seeing upticks in business. I enjoy seeing, not this is don't think about COVID for a second. Just think about the happiness that people are feeling because we're opening up.
Mhm.
I saw that video on Facebook of the person that was driving down Waikiki, and the street vendors were out, and everybody, the crowds were all over the place, and you see so much happiness, and I honestly am happy about that. I'm happy about that because that's what everybody was waiting for. And then the other side of me, the realist side, kicks me in my okoli and says, "Bruh, it's not over yet." And so, you know, it is what it is. We let the chips fall where they fall. We've done everything we can. When I say we, again, I'm talking about our viewers, our our friends, everyone that has tried their best to get the news out. Yeah, Laura, Waikiki is packed. Waikiki is packed, and I hope I hope that it continues and no one gets sick. I really do. I really do. But that is yet to be seen. So,
Well, I will tell you that I'm a little bit disappointed in our tourism professionals because we talked about it before. How if we are going to open up big time, and they said that the numbers right now is has exceeded pre-COVID numbers just like the first day it opened, right?
yep.
So I'm a little bit disappointed because they talked about how we need to redo our traveler or visitors that come to the islands so that everything is done more in moderation so it can be an enjoyable experience for them as well as the people that live here, right? The only one that's doing that right now, I'm going to tell you, is Kauai and what they're doing out in Haena. And that is they are regulating how many people can go down to the edge of the beach because they said that they want to keep that pristine, the location pristine and beautiful, and they want to perpetuate that for years to come. So they took the bull by the horns, right? They set up that post that allows so many in, so many out, so it can be done in moderation. They're the only ones doing that. That's why people like Hawaiian Airlines, they cry the blues. Oh, we do this, we do that. They fly the people in. They don't give a rat's okole where they go from there because their job is done. I got your money. I flew you in. Boom, you're on your own. That kind of stuff upsets me because what is it being done in moderation? Is it being done carefully enough? I mean, does anybody bother to ask if the kukai hits the fan? Is there enough personnel at the hospitals that going to answer the call? We had a couple of close calls the last time, and they had to bring people in. So, and then you saw my post. I tagged you, and that is, we're looking about herd immunity. I hear that so much, and I keep on saying, if it's 80% that we need to achieve. Right now, studies have shown that close to 46% of, and they took it from voters, do not want to take the vaccine. So my question is, how do you obtain the 80%? And then if you do obtain the 80%, the structure they're talking about has to be kept at 80% or more, correct?
Yes.
What if it falls below the 80% mark? Then what do you do? How do you stimulate it enough to keep it at 80%? So it's like, it's like looking for that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's not there, but it's a good thought and it's exciting. And you hope one day that, hey, maybe there is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But you know that every time you get closer to the rainbow just moves further and further away.
Yeah.
So you keep on going until you completely circle the globe. So,
No, you're right, Charlie. You're so right. And I watched today the Hawaiian Airlines, all the photo ops because they're flying their direct flight now from Ontario, California, which is a huge airport, big
yeah,
population base.
right.
That's just how. I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, and these guys they're gonna take advantage of the situation because they know, Charlie, the chances of it getting shut down again is still there. The chance is still there. If it doesn't work out the way the lieutenant governor is saying it will, then we're looking at another situation that will require some restrictions. And so they're going to take it when they can. They're going to take them. The flights are full.
Let's look at it this way too, real fast now. What the lieutenant governor says, right? That's if everyone cooperates with everything that's in place. All the measures, the safety measures in place. If every single person in this state, as well as those coming in, follow those rules, then I can say, yeah, they'll probably achieve what the lieutenant governor is saying. But right from the get-go, you get people coming over trying to bribe screeners because they never take the test or get out of quarantine. You get people not even wearing their masks. You get people doing this, doing that. It's gotten to the point you can already tell the police are just giving up. We don't want to enforce nothing. Okay, fine. Don't. But then what do? I like to tell the police department, don't get mad if people start calling you up because, somebody gave them false hope that, hey, if you see one violation, call us up. We'll go check on it. Okay, they're calling you up. You guys ain't doing nothing. So what do you expect?
Yeah. Well, April 5th is the day we enter back into safe travels on Kauai, and we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
See what happens. And like I said, we're going to have to, the only way we're going to be able to determine. Oh, by the way, Dr. Peng and Dr. Ho,
HOU.
Yeah, will be on Monday night. Next Monday night, Dr. Peng and Dr. Ho will be on next Monday, right?
Yep, the 22nd.
And to share with us what they're doing on Maui to at least track as best as they can the COVID cases as people are leaving. Now, people may say that's not good enough. Well, listen, the alternative is nothing. So something is better than nothing. Anyway, next Monday, 7 o'clock, it's going to be awesome. Now, tonight, Charlie, it was interesting. You brought up the North Shore. Tonight, because of what's going on here on Kauai, and basically what we just said in the first 15 minutes or 12 minutes of tonight's show is what we would have stretched over an hour. The same thing. We wanted to focus again. We focused on the shoreline erosion and a bike path on Monday. Tonight, wanted to talk about what's happening on the North Shore. what's happening in the areas, and this applies to those of you on the other islands that are suffering from the floods as well. So we have Joel Guy. You remember Joel? He was on to talk to us about how what the North Shore did after the last flooding in 2018 and how they regulated visitors and so forth. And Megan Wong should be coming on as well to share with us what's going on the North Shore and how we all can help, how we can help the small businesses out there, how we can help the residents out there. So Joel is in the waiting room. I'll bring him in.
Well, some people are asking about the hat. Thank you very much. This is the hat that I used to use to entertain with, ladies and gentlemen. And when I was playing with Uncle Cyril Pahinui here on Kauai, this was the hat. And so I felt like wearing a hat tonight. Mostly because I never buy hair gel and I never comb my hair. That's how lazy I am. So I put the hat on. There you go.
Well, I feel like I need to wear a hat too because our guest Joel has a hat, and you have a. Can you hear us, Joel? Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you nice and clear. Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good.
Welcome back, sir. It's been a while, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, thank you for having me so much. Thanks for all you guys do.
A lot has happened as well.
Yeah.
I know Megan's supposed to be on tonight as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if she's going to come on or not, but.
I hope so. Don't leave me out here alone, Megan. Get on here.
Well, we got a lot to talk about, Joel, and
Yeah.
you're very capable and a very articulate person. So
Thank you.
So let's just start with Charlie opened up in our dialogue about what you all did after the 2018 floods and the KA Beach project with Limahuli and all of that you guys did such an amazing job out there to really protect the resource, the assets of our island out on the North Shore. And then we get whacked again. And this one is I cannot tell you if it's worse. I don't know, but the response was pretty similar. You're blocked off. The North Shore is now blocked off from Princeville, to the rest of the North Shore. So why don't you start by maybe you can start by introducing yourself. Most people know this is Joel Guy.
Yep.
Community
Hi, my name is.
advocate.
I work. Thank you. I work for I'm the executive director of the Hanalei Initiative. We're a nonprofit out here. We usually work on transportation, and yes, you're right. We were fortunate to be a large part of the reopening of the road after the flood. That's kind of how we formulated to look at projects that would help beautify parks and then facilitate the shuttle access into the park, right? It was going to go from a kind of like you said, it was just unmanaged, kind of out of control scene down there to how do we create a better system that would care for the place first and then the people, and then the visitor and then, and so on and so forth. But prioritizing really taking care of this area that's so special and that had been, neglected for so long. And so it was just a tremendous opportunity with the flood after, the planning that had been done. I know we'll talk more about this current situation, but just to give a little bit of background, that was such a monumental experience to be a part of. And with leadership like Chipper Wickman and Alan Carpenter and those guys, and the planning that had gone on for so long, it put us in a position to be able to implement the plan after the flood hit, right? Because rather than try to figure out how to go from 3,000 a day down to 900 to scale it back, we went from 0 up to 900. So it was a really different, an incredible opportunity. We had the political will, we had the community support, and then we had some capital. We were fortunate enough to have an engaged legislative body at the state that said, yep, through, Senator Kochi and Nadine said, yep, we're going to make this happen. So, that was incredible. The problem, well, there's a lot of problems, but one of the challenges is that the merchant community and the businesses really suffered and took a hit during that time because, is Hanalei shut down? Is it not shut down? And is that Megan? Yep, there she is. Hi, Megan.
Hi, Joel.
Oh, I'm so tired. I can't believe you're still out there right now. I'm like back in my office, like ready to fall over. But yeah, just introduce yourself, Megan, if you don't mind, just before I can chatter on.
Okay. Hi, this is Megan Wong, calling from Hanalei. We just kind of got off the boats, and I'm calling from the Kauai Resilience Team.
So,
Welcome, Megan, and thanks for putting this together for us tonight. Appreciate that.
Thanks for having us.
yeah. So I'll just kind of bring us up to date real quickly. So then we started to kind of fight back as a community. We saw this amazing effort at KA. We got much better responses from the visitor industry and from the residents. And then COVID hit and everything kind of went down, you know, and that was massive. And then we kind of started coming back and we're like, oh, we're kind of eyeballing this. At least a lot of those kind of visitor-based industry was looking at that opening, and maybe this is our chance to kind of make it back. And then this hit, you know, last week, what was it, Thursday, I think it was. And it's interesting, and there's a lot of great things to talk about, a lot of things that have happened. But I think an interesting difference is that when the landslide came down and you look at, like, it cuts off transportation, right? It cuts off access. So it's not like, oh, the tourists cannot get in or stuff. Like, we have 10,000 pounds a day of taro that has to get out of this place. Like, that's 10,000 pounds he's got. And no one even really realizes that. I mean, not nobody, but a lot of us don't realize what a huge volume that is to export. And it's growing every day. And these guys are pulling it every day. And so these taro farmers, you know, that's not only their economic engine, it's also the food and the lifeblood of so many people that are expecting it out there around the state. So you have this huge, you know, we always talk about what's coming in and, oh, we need more toilet paper or water or whatever, but like, there's this massive export industry that I don't think a lot of us realize. And so the economic impact, it's not just like, oh, you kind of go to Honolulu and buy a tourist thing. It's like people that work at Waipaw, people that work in the Poi Mill, people that work anywhere. If you're doing a solar project and you can't get gear out there because the road shut down, all commerce comes to a halt, you know? So that was a real big blow. And I'll just give somebody the mic for a moment. I just want to kind of paint the picture. It's not just, oh, the tourists aren't here anymore. It's like the whole place gets shut down. And when it happened, I guess I won't shut up right now, but you know, there was no fire truck down here. There's no ambulance down here. It just happens kind of like, you know, fortunately DOT shut the road down the night before. And so we clearly appreciate the wisdom in that person's decision to shut it down, because the next morning when it fell, you know, if you didn't have gas in your car, then you don't got gas in your car. Like, you don't got gas, you don't got anything except for what, you know, you just can't get out. So and then, I don't know, any thoughts on that, Charlie?
Well, before we go on, guys, share. I forgot to do this earlier. Share. All right. Yeah, that's awesome, Joel, getting us up to where we're at today. And I think a lot of people don't really understand or know what goes on in the sleepy little town of Hanalei, where so much happens, you know. It's not just tourists. There's a lot of local families that live down there that rely on that road. And yeah, it's incredible. Megan, what's happening, Megan?
Hey, how's it going? So, yeah, just to piggyback off of Joel. So the next situation is getting people to and from work and able to get across the river so that they can get supplies and things that are essential, medication, mail, their children, things like that. And so bringing on a ferry system within an hour of the mountain coming down was like, we just jumped into action just immediately, and somehow just came together because this community is just so proactive and resilient. They figure out a solution to whatever the problems are. I mean, we're good at problem solving here. So we have ferry system in place. I have my two brothers, Kona and Kainoa, running each of the boats with a couple other guys, jets on it. And we go back and forth. We have a system in place where the mules come down the hill. I'm not sure. Joel, did you already talk about that?
Nope.
Okay. So I'm sorry it was late. So we have people on the schedule from 7 to 12 and 4 to 6. Love you too. That will take our general residents and community back and forth, and our workers, our essential workers that are down here. And so they get on the boat takes them across. There's UTVs that will meet them across and take them up the muddy back hill. And then at the top of the hill, we have a shuttle system at the point between Leo Papa and Hanalei Plantation Road. We have a checkpoint there where we turn everyone around that's not a resident of the area or doesn't have essential work going on that street. And then a shuttle is coming to pick them up there. They take them to the Mackay Golf Club parking lot, where the Rotary is directing traffic and shuttling them back and forth. For this week, Yamaguchi buses are in play and they are shuttling people to and from Kilauea and Princeville. So that's a nice relief for people that don't have vehicles on that side. So that's kind of where I've been at. I've just been kind of at that checkpoint, and we do drop offs there and we redirect traffic. There's a lot of tourists that come through that way looking for a waterfall or a hike or just totally oblivious to what's going on. But for the most part, they're pretty understandable. There's some entitled ones here and there, but for the most part, it's been really well. I told Joel that there were some neighbors that were kind of like, what's going on and why are you here and why is there traffic? But by the time I'm done explaining to them, they're ready to donate somewhere. So it's just putting the right people in place to explain. And there's a few people that need to be strong armed, but for the most part, Aloha usually kills,
That's why you're
their
here,
bad
Megan.
attitude.
We've been a good cop, bad cop. I just want to kind of build on that a little bit in the sense that, like,
Yeah, please.
well, all the hard work that went into the recovery over 2018, when this disaster hit, a lot of those relationships had already been built, and at least those relationships were strong. So you had good relationships with the chief of, like, the county administration, with, civil defense, like these guys that were really able to, and people within our community. We had leaders in the community that had shown that you could trust them to execute. So when Kona and Kainoa take over the boats for ferries, those boats are going to be there every morning at 6:30, gassed up and ready to go. Who in your community will deliver and will take care of what's needed. I wish we could paint a better picture of that experience, of when you come up to the dock and you have somebody there ready to put you on this boat. You go across the Honolulu River, jump in an ATV, some local girls in the Vink, jump in the back, load up your gear, and then she just flies up this hill. Then you jump in another shuttle, you ride over to Mackay Club and get out of your car. It's almost faster than driving up the road. It's mind-blowing what's happened in the last couple of days, well, it's a little over a week now. So just wanted to make sure I reemphasize how incredible that experience is. It's been great to see.
Yeah, well, I was able to, during the 18 floods, I was able to get on, on that boat, one of the shuttle boats, and get across. And the system at that time was pretty, still early, but it was working already. And then it just got better and better and better. And I think, I was talking to the chief of staff yesterday, Sarah, and I think the county is so lucky and appreciative of the community out there, because like you said, when the mountain fell, everyone knew what their function was going to be because of 2018, and they just went and they just did it. Mm-hmm. And it's working. I heard on the radio today, somebody said, "Oh, if you need to get your mail, you got to go here, get on a shuttle, get on a boat, get on an ATV, then get on a boat." And I'm thinking, holy, I don't know if everyone, even here on Kauai or across the state, of any of our viewers, can appreciate what is going on out there, because like you said, Joel, it's cut off. You cut off from the rest of the world. That's what it is. And all of these little mechanisms that have to be created and put in place to get people from point A to point B is working right now, and it's working well. So thank you too, and the rest of your teams out there that's doing this. Yeah,
just a little mention on the supply chain stuff. I think it's pretty interesting. Like, we were able to put a couple forklifts on each side of the docks, and I think that was like those trusted relationships with, like, Hawaii Community Foundation. They were right there going, okay, what do you guys need from resources to get going? Mike Ching over at Ching Young was out first thing on the phone trying to line up boats. So you can put those pieces in place, and like Megan said, you can keep people going to work. Every morning we have all the Big Save ladies coming up on this thing. One of the old aunties, she has a life vest on over her jacket, comes up ready to go, and she's like, "Okay, I'm ready to go," and comes on the buggy down the hill on the boat and all over. And so, like I said, just having those lifts in each place. Like I said, from noon to 4, we shut down the humans and we just transport supplies. And Big Save, it's like 5-6 pallets a day. And then you try to bring the boat. We have kind of Rick Marvin loaned us his barge boat and Keola Sheehan's boat. So those kind of more tugboats, we have a forklift, put the pallets on it, bring it across the river, another lift over there, put it on the back of the ATV's trailer, fly it up the hill, then a lift's on the top up there to put it on the flatbed and take it out. Like our liquor store took in 3 pallets yesterday. It's wild to see that much volume of supplies moving in and out of a town without a road in like a day. It's crazy. And we're fortunate that, we're fortunate like Laird Hamilton and those in like, that's his area over there. That's his back road. Like without that access, I don't know what we would do. Like he already had a dock because he, the jet ski whole surf world. And he also has strong relationships within the community. So when he knows that Megan needs something or we need something, he's just like, yeah, open up the gate, let's go. And let's just make this happen. And then you can just go right through his whole back zone over there. I'm sure that'll get old quick, but it's been amazingly gratifying to have a friend like that help us out. I don't know what this town would do without that access point.
You
I
know,
could spend the whole show thanking people. It's just crazy how many people, but sorry, Charlie, go ahead.
yeah, what's amazing is how you can discuss with the contact. Well, it's amazing how you can discuss with your contacts and get them involved, because when there's a big pileup on any of the highways outside of Hanalei, say like between Kapa'a and Lihue, they always talked about using lands Malka of the highway, right?
Mhm.
There's always been a debate. Well, there's liability, there's this and that. So they would rather back up the traffic and inconvenience everybody and just gridlock and hold it to a gridlock. With you folks are a prime example that if you just work with the community, you got people like you said, Laird Hamilton using his property to bypass the chute, to get out of that gridlock. I don't know why some of our officials just, maybe there's some, maybe Mel, you can touch on it. Maybe there's something in there that's, a magic genie someplace that says, no, you can't do that or something. I don't know. But, it seems workable for them. And, I think inevitably what's going to happen, it's going to show that the people of Hanalei and the surrounding volunteers can show that sometime if the government can't jump in fast enough, they will do it. That's what's going to show. It's showing right now. It's definitely showing right now. And not saying that you're doing it on purpose. It's just that there's a need to do it. Okay, because we can debate all day, but it doesn't do anybody any good if everybody sits idle and it's gridlock. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
And you folks are result oriented. That's what.
I think, with the community, there's no bureaucracy in community. There's none. You get a bunch of guys, leaders like the two of you and everyone else that's out there, and they put the plan together, and they don't have to go get approvals. They don't have to. They can do what needs to get done to get the job done. And that's just the beauty of having that kind of community in place. And it doesn't happen unless a crisis occurs. And again, 2018 prepped that community, that North Shore community, for 2021.
Mhm.
And it's a good thing. So the most important thing, Joel, and you touched on this a couple of times already, the relationship between your group, the leaders, and I there's so many. If you were to we'd be thanking everybody for 2 or 3 hours, but
Yeah.
the relationship between government and the community during this type of crisis is so vital. And that is what is happening. It happened back in 2018. It's happening now. And that is how we can get these things. If only government was left to do this, just by the way the structure is set up, it would take much longer. And I'm not disrespecting anybody. I'm just saying that's the process. And
Right.
this way, when you let the community take care of the community, this is what happens. It works. It works quicker.
Yeah, we have a saying out here that we use. It's community-led, government-supported.
Yeah.
And so if we can, lead the direction of the conversation, and that's because they'll trust us, right? Mayor will reach out right away. What do you guys need? Well, how can we help you out? And try to keep us on track legally as best they can, but kind of keep us going and backing us up whenever we go through these challenging times. It like you said, that the efficiencies and the systems we can put in place immediately. And then like the Rotary, like those guys want to help out. What can they do? Okay, you can just run this shuttle up there, and it's just a plug and play operation that they can stand up right away. And there's not a lot of government red tape. It's just like, okay, throw a couple signs out, call the guy from the Mackay Club. You know, we already have a relationship with them from the last shuttle. He says, yes, you can use our parking lot. I think I went kind of hard on this on the lot today. I'm sorry, Doug Sutter and you guys up there. We're gonna try and keep improving that operation up there. There's just a lot of people that come down here to work every day. There's no visitors coming, and we're doing hundreds of people every day coming out of that Mackay Club parking lot, and they have to be shuttled all the way down. So I don't want to go through the process again, but you know, these are all workers in their boots and like the Big Save staff, and it's just there's a lot of stuff that's happening that's all these people are helping make happen. And you're right, it's government allowing us the freedom to just to support us and to trust us and allow us to be there for our community. Yeah, so that's really exciting. I think the next step as we kind of pivot and look ahead is, you know, it's still kind of a mystery of what that road's going to be like. You can't go right now. They just opened up to essential vehicles yesterday, I think it was, or maybe today. So, yesterday, because an ambulance came through, you know, and it was kind of nice because, you know, I got my parents out in Hyena, and if anything happened, I was kind of like, Mom, if you want to go that side, like we can get you out right now because the ambulance can't get anybody out. She's like, you're gonna have to drag me out of here. And I think a lot of people feel that way. They want to stay put. But at the end of the day, the essential, it's open now. But as we move forward, how long until, I think they are thinking about residential traffic, or not residential, just vehicular traffic open to the public, maybe this weekend. And they would, but when you say that sounds great. But what that means is that they'll have the road closed from, you know, 7 in the morning or 8 in the morning till 5 at night, so they can get a lot of work done. And there's a lot of people requesting a midday open. And I would hope that there was a concession that we would get that. But at the end of the day, that's not like, oh, okay, that makes it all better. Like if it's open from 11 to 12, and then you're still closed all day long so they can get work done. And that could go on, you know, for a few months. I think they're saying 3 months right now. So pretty much if you're a business, that just is crushing. It's not like it's a bad week. That's like, okay, we're just coming out, safe travel plan. We're going to get back into it. Just hold on till April 5th. And now you're like, it's months before this thing could come back to where, before you can open up this road both ways. So how do we pull that off? How do we think outside the box so that we don't lose all these businesses and all these people that were already hanging on by the threads after COVID? How do we get them to and so right now we're really trying to think about that. Like we got to care for these people that are just our brothers and sisters of our community.
I think they talked about it this morning. I mean, I thought I heard them say something on the news where they're going to be discussing opening up that, you know, that one lane that they have right now where you have those Jersey barriers,
Mhm.
and that they're going to have checkpoints at both ends, and they're going to be alternating traffic to let regular traffic go.
All day?
That's what they were talking about today. They're discussing. So,
That would be great.
yeah, so it might be a workable solution.
That would be incredible. I'm glad to hear. Thank you for sharing that. I've been kind of busy, but
I believe I heard it, unless I was dreaming so intently that it worked in your favor.
no, they've been talking about shutting it down so they can get more work done. So they usually do, like they'll open it from 6 to 8 in the morning, and then they'll get a nice long closure so the workers can just go nuts, and then open it up in the evening at 5 to 10. So that's real refreshing news to hear that they're considering keeping a lane open all day.
Yeah.
People are going to have to understand, though, that there's going to be many segments of time that they're going to have to stop the traffic. That road is, that area, you know, it's going to be a while. And I think the Department of Transportation said the best case scenario is 3 months.
Mhm.
And I think
Which means like 6 months. Just
Yeah,
if anything,
I think
like
that's
20
more like it. But my point is that as people go down to the North Shore, and that's why, again, was hoping we can touch on what happens next with visitor traffic down to the North Shore during this period of time, because you know it's going to be tough. Everybody's going to be want to go down to the North Shore, and it's going to be like it was in 2018, where the traffic is backed up because you got one lane.
Right.
And that is already a slow road, because you cannot really drive fast on that road because of the turn and just the design of that road. But what happens next going forward, because it's going to be a while, and you cannot stop all the traffic And those businesses down in Hanalei and even in Wainea, they need customers. They need customers to come down there to spend their money and to support the businesses. So it's tough. And that's what we talked with Megan about how she texted, she reached out and asked, how can we brainstorm? Well, what's some options for us to assist down there, knowing that, like, I won't go to I'm not just going to put myself and my wife and drive down and get stuck in traffic and create more issues for the residents and for those workers on the road. But how can we all help? How can we as Kauai residents, even visit our viewers from around the state, how can we help our small businesses in that area?
Oh, Megan, this is you.
Well, Megan,
Yeah.
you gotta unmute me.
Yeah.
I muted you because you could hear the birds chirping and
Okay. Lots going on. Sorry, so I'm still moving around. We're not even home yet. I'm still unloading boats. Things like that. So sorry about that.
10 more minutes. Let's stop for a second.
Okay, so so you can't see me, but I'm here. So yeah, some of those thoughts were for businesses. We were brainstorming a little bit yesterday about what we could do, and I told Joel, the shuttle's your thing. Like I would love to see a more sustainable eco way of doing tourism here, and push the tourists back up to Princeville and shuttle them down. It's a safer way and it's a more controlled way to have tourists down here. You bring them in shuttles so we don't have all these cars on the road, but you bring them right to the businesses so that they can do their shopping, and then you shuttle them through KA or any of these places, and they pay to get on the shuttle. And that's just the way we do it. And I don't know, talking to so many of our residents today, they're all like, is it going to open? Is it safe? Like, what's going on? And so many people are like, I don't even want to take it. All the big save workers are like, we don't even want to go down that hill. Are you guys going to still do this boat? We'd rather be on the boat situation. And it's so up in the air that we don't know what's going to happen, but we said we will do it as long as we can, provide the service for our community. But ideally, I think we really need to have that talk with our residents and the people who are the most affected by it. And so to think about sitting in traffic with tourists hours to get across to a doctor's appointment and then being stuck on that side for hours longer, that doesn't seem like a solution, and it's not really fair to us. So I think ideally to have the tourists cut out of it or have a tourist come down through shuttle would be the best situation, and maybe run the ferry system at a minimum, or figure out that, between us and Joel and the Laird and everybody, how we can assist our community, but have them really do a safe job. From what I hear, we had a UPS driver come through, or no, FedEx maybe it was, and he drove through the road and he was like, that road is so sketchy. I don't want to drive it again. And some of the workers have said the same thing. So I don't know what's more scary driving through that. The scarier part of doing that would be in a convoy with hundreds of cars at a very slow pace. There's no way to reverse if something starts to happen, or boom, go forward. And we're all going at a very slow pace. And the other thing is like, where are they planning to run the vehicles, through the main highway or up and around through Princeville? I haven't heard that, because right now they won't let us take our ATVs straight through on the highway to go fill with gas. So if it's not safe for that weight, how are we planning on getting vehicles? Right now they're getting all the emergency vehicles and the pooper trucks and all the essentials down through the back road. So they have to go through Princeville, come up Leo Papa, and make a left on Plantation to get around the landslide on the main highway area. So I don't know if that's been made in the plan, but I'm sure all the residents of Princeville will just have a heart attack if we're running the highway through Princeville.
So
that was just another thought. Yeah, go ahead, Joel.
Well, I just, everybody's, hopefully, we're all thinking about how do we care for our economic opportunities, our community-based economic development in our community. And so, and there's two things. There's like our businesses and our families and friends that need to survive, and they need people. And then there's this road that needs to get fixed. And so there's this 3 to 5 months window when we want to minimize the impact on that road. We really got to reduce the vehicular access so that we can get to doctor's appointments, as Megan said, or you know, to school, and we got to allow as much room on there for people to live their lives and try to get back to normalcy. But we also have to make sure that we care for our stores and our people that are working. And so, you know, one thought would be if we did, I think there's about 210 vacation rentals that are legal in this area. And if they all came in and that's where people stayed, and there wasn't a lot of access in and out of Hanalei, and we just said, look, this is where you spend your money. This is where you support these stores. We got, and yeah, Megan said we got shuttles. I don't think that's like the silver bullet, but I mean, if that can help get people down to KA and back, because you just want to not have as much driving up and down that road, you know, that's what is it? A community economic bubble. Like they talk about bubbles. Well, maybe you don't block it off. I don't think you can block it off to people, and Megan might see differently. I might be in the minority on that. Like I don't think you can legally, you know, constrict access once it opens. They didn't. I guess I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying that what if we just had a great messaging program that would allow people to understand that that's just not a real functioning part of our program for the next 3 months, but we want you to come into Hanalei, stay down here, enjoy bikes and maybe some shuttles, maybe a couple cars, maybe some Uber drivers can come and kind of get a little hustle on some of these local kids and really keep the economics going for a few months in here. I think if they open up the road for a few hours a day and we can really pack them like from 5 to 7 and strategically fill it up, and then to a capacity, right? It's not endless. It's not, you're probably not going to get everybody on the island in here, but you could put some people that would be willing to hang out in Hanalei and spend a week here, and then, you know, really focus their economic spending here, because they're not going. And it would be a bummer if you couldn't go to Kokea. Maybe one day you can, but I think trying to really minimize the impact on that traffic jam that's going to be every single day for our kids and parents and grandparents. Like the list is amazing of how many people are affected by that. And then there's this huge economic need, this huge hole that we saw after the flood, after COVID, and now again. It's heartbreaking. I mean, it is survival for them. So one concept is pack all these homes that are legal TVRs, and people that might be against TVRs or whatever might be ready to shoot me right now, but just some way to like pump up the economy for a few months, and then go back to normal, because the road's gonna open, everything, you know, we can figure out how to move from there. Once again, Megan kind of sees it differently than me, but I appreciate her perspective for sure. Anybody's got a good idea to help the economy, bring it. Like it's not about anybody's idea that's specifically better. We just want to, you know, think of ways to do that. So thanks for giving us a chance to kind of talk about it.
Go ahead, Charlie. I see that. Go ahead, Charles.
There's two mindsets on this. I think first we need to take it in stages. First of all, you guys got to find a hydrologist to come in, take a look at whatever has saturated that whole entire area. What is the amount that road can hold as far as weight? Nobody's, I mean, I know DOT says, you know, we're going to try to stabilize the mountain, but you got to look at, you know, something got unearthed, right? That entire wall fell. So I wouldn't be surprised that when that entire wall was static on that roadway, it buckled something underneath it. I am almost certain of it. Okay. But it's just that with the plane, just by looking at it, you can't tell. You need to stabilize that first. Second, you folks are facing the same situation like when I was at Copper over on Maui. You know, when you go around the head of Maui, basically there's 2 lanes, but when you go down to Kakaloa Valley into the town, that's why some cars go off the side, because if somebody coming down and somebody coming up, even though it's 2 lane, but it's so skinny, somebody's going to have to back up. And that's where a lot of guys got into problems over there. So, you know, talking to somebody from Maui and just saying, hey, how, even into Hana, what they did, because at one time it was very hard to go all the way around and come out by Wailea side, you know, by Kaupo, the Gap and all that area.
Mm-hmm.
So even when they had big washouts, they were stuck. I think the saving grace is what you guys do with the boats. But what you're talking about is what I mentioned at our opening of the show when we were waiting for you folks. And that is, we talked to the officials and we said, hey, if what they did down at Hyena is working, you're gonna have to stop the clock, turn it back. You're gonna have to dial it back on how you're gonna control tourism, how you're gonna control the visitors. You cannot just open them up and throw everything on us one time and expect us to deal with it.
Mhm.
And that's what's happening because, right now they're bragging that, wow, this is the best since pre-COVID, 26,000 visitors in one day that they're catching coming in one crack. And yet you look at everybody and it's just like a big, like a massive ball, just going for it. Okay, but Kauai is a little different. We wanna keep the beauty for generations on end. If you flood everything one time and you just destroy everything, what's the use, right?
Mhm.
I think we gotta start thinking, hey, maybe back in the old days we could handle 3,000 coming down towards Hanalei. Maybe things gotta change. Maybe
That'd be
cannot do
awesome.
the 3,000. Maybe we gotta take them in shifts. If that's gonna work out,
Well,
you gotta think about something like that.
so thinking of that Hyannis State Master Plan,
Mhm.
the way you get in there is you have a reservation for a parking spot, right? So that's your parking spot, and they allocated 100 spots. 75 were for visitors, and 25 were for kind of give or take, right? They had this kind of fluctuating number. If that
Right.
same model was in place and the vacation model was that parking spot, and you knew you only had a certain amount, I'm not trying to I'm just thinking limiting the road, but I think at the end of the day, you kind of create that same pattern, right? You're not saying everybody can come any day, pack them in here, because the road's not ready for that. I mean, it's just hammered. And so I think we have to be strategic with our thinking to not just pound that road all day long and back it up to Kilauea and have people, I mean, that'll just be insanity. So if we can put in enough economic opportunities in here, enough people that are willing to spend some money to keep us going for a few months, I think we could, and I'm not saying pack it in, Charlie, I'm saying like, whatever that number is, I just know that those are legal, and I don't think that's going to be overboarding our city. We have those full plus everybody on the whole island coming over here most days. So that's a huge reduction, that's a huge reduction, but it's also,
I think it has to be, me personally, I think it has to be done in a way where it's controlled because, like I said, when we had a talk with the officials, we said, hey, you guys been enjoying the fat all these years, okay? What came over with it? You had plenty rubbish, you had plenty traffic on the roadway. When COVID hit, you saw all the cars parked at Kmart by the stadium. That's all rental cars that I didn't even know existed on this island. I said,
Right.
why did we have a lot of rental cars? So I said, I think we gotta dial it back because just imagine if you're gonna spend in your entire day 2 to 3 hours on the roadway just getting back to work because the highway is getting all piled up again like it was before. I said, there's got to be an experience both for the visitor as well as the local people. There's got to be the experience where we won't get road rage.
Yeah.
And it was getting to that point because there's just so many people on the roadway. And so all the kupunas were just saying, hey, I'm going to stay home because I don't even want to deal with it.
Well,
The younger guys, hey, go buy me something because people were getting flippant because the patients were growing thin. Now's the time. I hope the state aisles back and looks and said, hey, we got to do this better. Kauai is a special place. And I hope and pray they take a look at your project that you got going on down when we had you and Chipper on. I hope they look at that project because that's a real good example. Maybe it doesn't have to be that small. Maybe you can increase it, but at least it's a manageable project. And that's the key thing, manageable. It has to be managed properly. You cannot just say, well, you know the rules, right? It's like masks. You know the rules. You need to wear a mask. You give the option to people. Guess what? The first chance they don't have to use it, they won't. And that's when you get the problem. So you know the rules. The speed limit is this in Hanalei town. It's got to be managed correctly. You got to remind people every time until they get to the point to say, hey, these people really care about their town. We better follow the rules from this point on. And we got to get it to that point. As far as the TVR, maybe Mel will agree or might not agree. There's some people that say, yeah, I would enjoy going to the TVR, but then some say, you know what? I like the big hotels. So those are the kind of people, how do you convince them to buy into going into the TVR?
No, you don't. You don't. They go to the hotel and they stay at the Hyatt or the Marriott. I think that they just don't get to visit Hanalei this trip. They can come next year, but you just cannot have people going back and forth all day long. That if you're staying out here, you're staying out here. And if you're staying out there, you're staying out
Right.
there.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to reduce the traffic and then provide economic opportunity, and kind of maybe create some habits where it's like, hey, we do okay with this amount. It's not everybody on the whole island. The road's not really open, although it's legally open. Through the messaging, you're like, hey, there's no way we can handle all those places, these people right now. We got to get the road done. So but let's not just say it's closed, right? For good. Let's try to do a manageable amount.
Let me give you a stat from Hawaii Visitors Bureau, Sukanoho. We have 80,000 registered vehicles on the island. Rent-a-cars make up for 10 to 12,000 of that 80. That's a lot of cars.
Yeah,
So,
and a lot of them were down at KA years ago, and now they're all gone. A lot of them are in Hanalei, and they line up all the way, through town. Like, we definitely don't have a shortage of rent cars here in those times. So I completely appreciate and really am grateful for what you're saying about that. That just keep more and more and more and more. You just start jonesing for more and more and more. And what happens is you start opening more businesses based on this influx of people, right? And you're always creating more supply than that demand, and the demand is huge. But you can just hope, and then when the demand slows down, when the supply slows down, we start forcing us to build it back up. It's like, oh, you got all these stores, you got to make everybody full, and it's like, oh, these guys kind of built their industry on kind of a over hit of visitor. You know what I mean? Like, it was maxed out these stores so we can build another store, and then it maxes out those stores so you build more, and then all of a sudden it slows down, and you're like, figure out how to get them all fed. You're like, no, that stuff came kind of unrealistic, right?
well, the old saying is, we build it, they'll come. That's what you're saying. And the thing is, it doesn't always work that way. But I think everything has to be managed properly. And I think the state and the county got to start going by examples that's shown. You folks did it. I don't see why they can't just use that and just say, hey, let's look at the data there. I'm pretty sure you guys got data already collected.
Tons.
But you sign people in and out, right?
Yeah.
You got this system going on. That's valuable data that they can say on any given day, and they can correlate that with the arrivals to see how much they can do already predictions, what it's going to look like. They start working their way. You're talking about, and it's no different from a taro farmer that says, okay, here's the demand. This is how much kalo we got to plant. And based on whether we get good weather or bad weather, if we get bad weather, we lose our crop, like what happens, right? But if we get good weather, boy, we can how many yields we can get off of that. Everything has to be managed. And the thing is, I think with the industry the way it is now, I'm just disappointed that what I see on the news, it's just like they open the floodgate, boom, they just let everything go. Is anybody managing those numbers? Not really. Everything is sort of like on remote control, but yeah, who's keeping track, right? Who's keeping track?
Well, I think we have to strategize a long-term goal for sure, but we're utilizing this downtime to create a system that cares for our community. And then as we open up, yeah, maybe we can look at introducing those things. We worked for decades on that plan at KA. We've got like till Sunday to figure out this plan, so we're hustling to get it going.
We had the HTA boss on the show, and that's what frustrates me is months and months ago when we talked about when COVID was, we didn't know when things were going to open, and the HTA came out and said that this was an opportunity to reset and to change the direction of the HTA to manage tourism. They in fact talked about the KA plan, the Haena plan. They mentioned that plan as a model, but once the pressure to open up from everyone, that's forgotten now. It's completely forgotten. Now there was no management of plane seats, new routes. We talked about, and in fact, Sue Kanoa was on our show once, and we've spoken about this, that Kauai has absolutely no say in new routes, airline routes to Kauai. They just keep pouring them on. And if you wanted to manage tourism instead of promoting tourism, then, we need to get the right data. But that road can only handle so much. That can be figured out by an engineer or by a traffic person. That you can figure out with the lanes available or the lane available in the time, you can figure out what is the number. And you're going to have to put a capacity. You're going to have to tell people, sorry, visitor, you cannot come down today. You're going to have to have a reservation system. The other option is to allow, you talk about economic development, Joel, you talked about a little bit earlier about getting Uber drivers out there within the town. You want to go to the Fern Grotto, you catch a boat. There's a limited number of seats. There's a limited number of trips. You go, you walk around, you take your pictures, you get the hell out, you're done. You pay for that. Same thing. You want to go to Honolulu town and go enjoy the local culture and the food and the beach, you either shuttle or use a boat. You want to talk about economic diversification, allow our local boat owners to go out and make some money and be a shuttle boat. And you get off in Honolulu and you walk or you catch an Uber. You don't need a damn car. And you go patronize the businesses in Honolulu. And when you're done, you get back on the boat and you go back to the other side. There's so much opportunity right now, especially with the economy. We're creating new industry, new jobs. Because you know what? When the road is fixed, that could still continue.
But hopefully we can understand to be okay with less, right? If we only have less, that's what I'm saying. But like, if we can do that now while we're getting cracks from that cliff, and then when it opens up, you're in a much better position to say, look, this is how many stores we can handle with this amount of people. I just don't know how, like that control mechanism, if it's a legal TVR, that not illegal, if it's a legal one, that's already a number that's kind of in place that you could say, okay, there's nobody else coming in right now. How much economic opportunity does this provide for your community? Is that a sustainable amount? Can you, a couple hustles with the boats and all this? But I mean, like, you kind of have this number and you can have something to kind of gauge it by. You can really get some data on that. And then you go, okay, we're going to increase it by this much, or however the decisions, we can all get together and figure out how to make it. But I think it's economic, talk about community-based economic development. That's as community-based as you can get, right? You're not having any exterior money coming in and leaving on a daily basis. So thank you I love what you say though. You really say what a lot of people are thinking and don't say it.
You want to stimulate the economy, let's do that. And the thing is, again, there is a capacity of vehicles. Now, I know people think I hate TVRs. I don't like illegal TVRs. I think they should be confiscated and sold to affordable housing. But the legal ones, the problem though, Joel, is you're still allowing someone to take a card on there.
Why?
And that car is not going to stop in Honolulu. It's going to go to Costco. They're going to go to Walmart. So you want to send a TVR during this time now where the road is broken, you don't have a car. Rely on Uber. Rely on the bus. Rely on the shuttle. You want to go enjoy a vacation rental out there in the North Shore, you ain't getting a car. Because we don't have the capacity with that broken road for any additional vehicular traffic, period. That's how you do it. If you want to stay in Honolulu, you do it. And guess what, guy? You learn the culture real quick. Hitchhike, ride a bike, or go catch a bus. I'm serious. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying you cannot have your cake and eat it too. They're not going to go to, they're not going to stay in Honolulu, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
They're not.
No, I'm
That's
with you.
More cars. So that's your option, tourists. If you want to stay in a TVR in the North Shore, you do it without a car.
Hey, Mel, we look at capacity, right? You know what the prime example is? Take a look at the bridge. You only get maximum capacity. You cannot take big trucks over that bridge.
Yeah.
And they clearly put it. So
well,
the roadway is almost the same. And this is the problem that they had. And I can only relate to when I was on Maui, because a lot of us, we used to work off duty. We used to work with the DOT. They would have those truck weigh stations, right? And I could never understand, what the hell are we pulling over these trucks for? What it was is that the Department of Transportation wanted to make sure that all these heavy rigs were in compliance with the right tire pressure They didn't overload the truck, because when they overload the truck, they bust up the asphalt. They bust up everything on the ground when they get too much weight. So I think that's, those kind of things is problem. So if we're gonna look at reopening that road, if we're really gonna relook at opening that road, the state gotta put their stamp of approval and tell the community, hey, this road is sound. But if you look at that amount of earth that sat on that section of roadway for those days until they cleared it, somebody got to ask, did anybody figure out the tonnage that was on that road? And the thing was static. It just stood there. It wasn't moving. It just stayed right on that one section. And you would put plenty of people's mind at ease if they said, yeah, we checked on the integrity and yeah, it's good to go. Well, okay, well, let's make sure. But at the same token, it goes towards the credence that what you're trying to say is that you dial back the time. And I said, okay, now we got to manage this a little better now, because we got a new lease on life, right? The road is open. But how smart are we going to do it this time? Because we can't have sunny weather. Then 3 weeks from now, not a big rain. Then what?
Guarantee it's gonna happen. Yeah.
We're in that same problem. But that's, like you said, you start doing the hard work now.
Yeah.
You can set it for years to come.
Well,
Megan,
we were also so lucky, like Joel said, that everybody was out of Hanalei. We had the road closure and the bridge, and they opened it for just a short, brief moment midday. Then they had a landslide. They backed us out again, and then they opened it in the evening. They're like, okay, we're gonna open it, just for a moment. And so whoever else need to get home or get out, do it now. So we were pretty lucky for that. But my, other thought about being stuck in Hanalei is, do we have a real safe evacuation for, say, a tsunami that comes? We know what happens when there's a beautiful day in Hanalei. Everywhere gets packed out. People are hanging out, going to the beach. And in this moment it starts to rain, everybody would get on the road. And we sometimes would have traffic backed up all the way to Hanalei School, trying to get out of Hanalei all at once. And to me, it's like, do we know our evacuation routes now that, some of them have been compromised since our big flood in 2018? Does all of our visitors know where they're supposed to go? Have they been educated in the area that they are? And I think they become more of a issue to a problem for our community, jamming up our roads where we can't get in and out. And the worst thing to do would be have a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing to try to get up that Hanalei Hill and be lined up at the Hanalei River during a tsunami. And I just think that it's just a matter of when we'll have our next disaster like that, not if. And I don't think we're prepared for all of those. So with safety in mind, I think both, everyone here has great ideas. I think Mel, you just hit the nail on the head with the TVRs and having Ubers, and I think they should be brought in with no vehicles. Ride a bike, catch an Uber, get a real Pono tour of our island, where our local people can tell you where to go to and not to go to, and what's the right thing to do in our area, and then bring them back. And then you keep all the money here. So I agree with Joel, the 200 and whatever legal TVRs that we have, but don't bring another car down here. We have enough entitled, wealthy people. And if we do a shuttle down here, charge them $50 a person to come down here, to be exclusive in this area. So many going to Ke'e. It's a beautiful place to be. Right now we see people trying to sneak around. Tourists are oblivious. They're trying to get through. They're like, oh, we can't just walk through. We can't just bring our boards and go across. And we tell them, like, no. So we're already being met with, they don't know what no is, and they're oblivious to what the rest of the community is facing down here. All they know is they paid for a ticket and they want to go to Hanalei Bay. Why can't they go to Hanalei Bay? So that would just, I think that you would sell, like, no tomorrow, sell those tickets and make your shuttle run properly, and bring 6 shuttles. I don't care. Bring 6 shuttles of 20 people at a time and drop them off. and then know that they're going to be down there stuck for 6 hours or 8 hours, whatever that block is. But I think that's a great idea.
I mean, that's if you want to go there. I mean, you know, why would you want to go in an area that has a ongoing issue? I don't get it. But
Yeah, but we don't get it why people want to come here during COVID and travel the world. They do, and they will.
yeah, that's a 2 hour show right there. That one. Right there.
Hey Mel, why don't they just do you know, they sell the bus passes, right? Sell the bus passes to the guests. They take them into Honolulu, and when they're ready to pick up, they use their bus pass. They give them a lift, because when they get big conventions in Kaanapali, they get like over 2,000 conventioneers. They don't have costs. They use the
Yeah.
bus, and the bus take them from Kaanapali to Kapalua or to Lahaina town, just on the buses. None of them
Yeah.
have individual costs. That's just how the conventions work.
That's great. You know, the nice thing about our shuttles too is because as a nonprofit, we really can be an opportunity to educate our visitors. You know, we have onboard messaging that was written by scholars from this area about this area. And so we can really share people about water safety, about your biodiversity within the community, how to really treat the area well. I think that's something that you always kind of wonder, how do you educate the visitor? And everybody's like, oh, you got to put an ad on the airplane, and that's just never going to happen. Or you got to play it at the airport, like, and it's just advertising over sensation. But when you get on a shuttle that's got a beautiful Hawaiian person sharing a story about the area, you know, we were fortunate enough to have GPS triggering messaging that when you pass into Lumahai, that you know, narrative comes on the speaker and talks about that area. Then you go into Wainiha, then you go into Haena, and it's just was a really amazing experience for the visitor. It's pretty unmatched anywhere. When you talk about like taking care of the visitor to the highest level, you treat them like your guest, and then but then you expect them to act like a guest. I don't, you know, I think, but we provide them with a better experience than if they did go at it alone, so that you're not, I don't know, I just, there's opportunities there to really raise the service and make it a better experience for them. And I understand, I appreciate, like, when you make something a little harder to get, someone just said it the other day, huh, Megan? When you make it harder to get, people want it more. They want to get there more. Like, that's, you know, that becomes the prized place to be, and everybody wants to be there. And then, you know, like Megan said, maybe you can command a higher price point. We always talk about that through the HTA, and we need more per unit, more per person. Okay, well then let's create an experience that you build that value into it, and you really kind of create that kind of an experience. This is a place you can do that. Honolulu is a place you can create that kind of a process and a system, because it is something you get your hands around. I'm not sure everybody in town agrees, but I think we can move in that direction. I'm really optimistic that with this experience we can really get. Why are you laughing? We can, Charlie.
The reason I'm laughing is because you hit the nail on the head on one thing. We talked about this because remember when we was trying to control COVID?
Yeah.
The mayor said that we are actually looking for that visitor that will pay the higher price point. Because the one that pays the higher price point could adhere more to the rules, right? Because more to spend, they want that experience. The one that doesn't spend that much usually is a haphazard one.
Mhm.
So I think what you're saying is you're hitting the nail on that. That's why I'm laughing, because you're hitting it on that right on the head by saying, you know, you get a higher price point, then you get that better experience.
Mhm.
But that's what it's all about.
Cool.
I'll just say that the HTA gotta, you know, you gotta say what you mean and mean what you say. And when you say your plan is gonna manage tourism, you need to do it. You cannot just say that to, you know, to make people feel good about your organization and then forget once the floodgates open. And that's what's happened. And now we have a situation here on the North Shore. We have an opportunity to reset. We have a model to follow. And you know, people will say you cannot do this. It's illegal. You blah blah. No, we did it already. It's been done. They closed Hana Highway. I mean, listen, it can be done. The bottom line is, how do we do that and maintain the economic driving forces there in the North Shore? And you do it by not allowing or not cutting out the visitors, but not creating a bigger impact on the roads, and that's how you do it. But
And
anyway.
I think what you said earlier, and I know we're running out of time, but you know, the community can, with the help of everybody in the community, you're much easier to mobilize these systems than government. So yeah, HTA can talk about it, then they have a hard time executing. We can execute. We clearly can. We showed it this week. We showed it after the flood. If we can work together to come up with some solutions that make sense. And I'll say it again, we got to take care of the place first. Like, that's so special. These treasured places that Charlie said, turn back the time. These places that were amazingly good for all of us growing up here. Like, that's our responsibility, to take care of that place, first, before anybody else. That's our responsibility, to take care of that place. And then the people from that place, and then the people that come to the place. Oh, we want to take care of them like they're, those are our guests. Those are our beautiful people that are choosing to come here. We want to take care of them too, we probably can't handle all of them, like you said, but we got to figure out a system that can, and I think we can. I think community first, community-led, government supported. Thanks. I gotta go to bed. I'm really tired.
Megan, why don't we
Yes.
use the last couple minutes, share with us what can we do? What can the public, what can viewers do to help out? Obviously, we don't want to add more issues down in the North Shore by driving down there when the road opens, but is there organizations out there that people can help support with donations, food or money or whatever?
Yeah, so I can let you know that we have started the Kauai Resilience Team, and we're putting a website together so that all the information, county will share all their information that they have there. There's a Facebook page that just was created today to gather all that information. We've created a GoFundMe. It's being put through Hanalei Initiative, and that's gonna help take care of our ATVs and mules and fixing up all the machines and stuff when we're done with this, and we'll see what's left over. We're using a fund at the gas station in Princeville to fuel. So anybody that wants to donate to the cost of fuel, we're able to go refuel the boats and all the machines without coming out of pocket, since everyone's volunteering, their equipment and their time. Any food and stuff is being handled by the food bank, and that's happening through St. William's Church, Sam there, and they're doing that Mondays and Thursdays. So we're pretty good. We're pretty good on the food and those kind of supplies. Gas is being handled by the Hanalei Canoe Club. They're bringing in 55-gallon barrels. They're distributing it in 5-gallon cans. So you pull up, you pay $20. They stick it in your car, fill you up, 5 gallons, and you're good to go. You don't have a lot of places to go. So I think that just takes a little edge off of that. We have Kauai Food Hub. They are a nonprofit that we're working with, and they put CSA fresh food boxes together. Like, that's what we started, the Adopt a Kupuna program we started. So that's an extension of that. So we're keeping our farmers, since we can't have farmers markets come down to Hanalei anymore. So we're trying to support those farmers as well, and buy their product and then distribute it to families in need down here. So those are some of the ways that you can donate. And then there's already Nanea from Tahiti Nui. She couldn't make it on. She's in the waiting room now if you want to let her on at the end of the show. But she is handling all of our food. So she's keeping all of us fed, the road workers. She's feeding the Big Save employees. I mean, she is just a rock star. And
She
there's
brought in
many
a
people.
band tonight.
She did.
There she
And,
is.
Oh, there, you can let her in if you want. Is she in?
She's there. She's in.
Yay, Nanea. But she's a rock star, and she's handling the food coordination. So if there are any people who out there who are like, we're gonna drop off lunches and stuff, it's overwhelming when we get too much. So Nanea's coordination of that, and she'll coordinate if people want to, other restaurants want to deliver food and stuff, and she can speak on that since she's on. So
And she
awesome,
also delivered a band into our community today, you guys. Like a full band came in on the barge. How's that
I'm
going?
not sure how they're going home, but because the boat drivers are gone, but the band is here.
It's a slumber party.
Awesome.
Okay, there we go.
Hey, what's up, Nanea? How are you? Thanks for jumping in.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
No, you're not late.
I'm trying to hear as much as I
You're early for the
can.
next show. You're early for the next show. So, real quickly, because we're pretty much out of time, but what's going on? What are you guys doing out there, and how can people help?
I heard a little bit last of what Megan was saying, and there have been other restaurants that have been wanting to jump in. We're definitely open to helping and sharing and receiving with anyone. I think it's definitely depending on how long this is all going to last. I think our biggest mission for wanting to just do food is to lessen the stress right away after the last time. I think that's the first thing I always think of is people get stressed out maybe more than necessary sometimes of what's happened immediately. And the first two things, if we can eliminate worrying about food for a couple of meals, okay, that's one thing that people don't have to stress out about. If people want to help, I think Megan and Joel have gotten a great GoFundMe and have a great system going. Megan's been incredible with coordinating donations and just the system that's in place. I've been very, very, very impressed with everything. Even, I mean, the band guys came in tonight and they were like, this is so smooth. Everything's working really well. So, I mean, people have been donating food and stuff, and we're happy to cook whatever we have. You know, I feel like it's definitely it's kind of our duty. That's our town. We did it last time, and this is totally a part of it. We want to take care of everybody as much as we can, and we don't have money this time to do, but we can cook and we can share food, and we have space, and we're happy to do it. So I'm happy to have anybody else who's interested. We had a couple of places donated today, some lunches, BB's in Kapa'a, and I know Hideaways in Princeville. I know there's a number of people that want to, and I'm definitely open to hearing everybody and getting everybody in when and however we can, because it's being appreciated. There's a lot of people that have been coming in and just are so thankful, and at lunchtime, especially at dinner time too, that it was one less thing they had to worry about. They just came back with the whole family over the boat, and now they can get hot meals and just go home and unpack. So.
And the other thing I want to say that's really great that we had like KGE FCU, they were raising money and they're like, okay, we can go get you guys toilet paper and diapers and food and this and that. And we're like, we don't need any of that. What we need to do is help our community, and our restaurants are struggling, but they want to make food. They have it and they're in place. So they connected with Nanea, and they paid a few different restaurants to do different things. So I think Nanea did some lunches, they paid her, so she got those out to wherever. Yep. And then they paid another restaurant. So if there's any organizations that would like to directly pay and find out what restaurants in Hanalei are operating on a small schedule or whatever they're doing down there, I'm sure Nanea's got that list, and we can just like share the wealth. I think that's
what
great.
that is Mel, we take account of all the volunteers, all the first responders, everybody working on the road, everybody helping out. And we came up with, I think it's about 75. And so that government employee credit union picks up the tab on that, and they say, we're going to guarantee commit those lunches are purchased from you tomorrow. And then they, so it's a great way to support the merchants. The food goes out to all the people that are working hard, and it's just kind of a nice little help come up to keep stabilize us for a few days. Does that make sense? Is that right?
It was.
Yeah.
So
absolutely, and it was. We have a list of exact. Sorry.
No. I was just gonna say we have a lot of viewers that want to help. What's the best number to call? Email or
Call Megan.
No, call Joel. Well, if it's food related, like prepared meals and stuff, and especially if it's coming in from one of the restaurants or even outside, Nanea's the one to do that. Joel, you can say what you do, and I can handle everything else.
Yeah, no, I'm just happy to be a part of it. Yeah.
Well, let me just say this: if you guys want to help, just message me. I'll make sure if you get sent to the right person. How's that?
Yeah, amen. Thank you.
Any of our viewers want to help out? We got a lot of generous viewers. I got to tell you, we're blessed, and they want to help. Just message me. Boom. How you can help, and I'll send you in the right direction. Let's just do that. It'll be easier.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much, Mel. I appreciate your time.
No, we want to help however we can, without going down and complicating the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, but I invite you guys to come down and use our system and see it for yourselves. We'll give you a grand tour.
Okay, Charlie.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Charlie.
Hey, thank you. Well, I do want to say, Megan, I want to say thank you to your brother, Juan, for making all those breakfasts in the morning. I know we got the Hawaii Food Bank and
He's been awesome. He made 100 burritos, and we got that to the kids at YPA. We got it to starving families coming across. We got it to all our volunteers. It's been like super awesome to have the breakfast burritos in the morning. So thanks for being part of making that happen. I think
well,
Stephanie was involved.
we're gonna supply him with all his provisions. I know he called my wife, so we're gonna supply him with all the provisions from Ikaha Egg, Hawaii Food Bank, and I forget who the other one was. but-
AHK, I think.
Yeah, okay. And we're gonna provide him with all his provisions until this emergency is over. We're just gonna, all he gotta do is just go and get the stuff or the supplies, and it's on us. And he just gotta whip them out and give them to your workers.
Thank you so
Amazing.
much, Charlie. That's amazing.
No, he, since we had him on the show the first time, we knew it was a special relationship. So I said, hey, I always wanted to open a food truck, but I don't know if a small mail truck will do it. You know what I mean? Maybe for Chevice, that's about it.
Mhm.
Well, we want to thank all you guys for sharing your time with us. Nania, I can tell you, it's 30 years ago now. I was a cop out there in Honolulu, and back then we only had one police officer in Honolulu, only one. And whenever the road would flood, we got stuck on that side, and the Tahiti Nui always was there for us and for the stranded people. They fed us, they fed the stranded people. So the tradition continues. And I just want to say thank you, personally, thank you, because
That's awesome.
that has been going on for decades. And it's so nice to see that continuing. I used to pray that the river was working so I could go down and eat some good food at the Tahiti Nui. So thank you guys. Thank you all.
That is
Joel
awesome.
and Megan, you guys are and I know it's many more,
Thank you
but
so much.
you two are the rock stars, the leaders. We appreciate what you guys do. Nanea, just going out and putting yourselves out there to help the people that are working their butts off. This is going to be a long one. I don't think it's going to be a quick one, and it's going to take all the community and everybody else to get through this. So we appreciate you guys so much, and thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank
Charlie.
you.
Aloha.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
So Friday, Feel Good Friday, guys. Hey, listen, we looking for local businesses like the Tahiti Nui, possibly, that want to come on and share with us. Just let us know. But Friday nights we do 3 businesses, 15 minutes apiece, and just trying to promote local business on Kauai. We got to support local, and when we
Amen.
can't, Honolulu, you want to support local by helping these businesses that are out there. Send me a message tonight. I'll send you to the right people so we can all get through this. So thank you all so much.
Okay.
Go get
Aloha.
some rest.
Okay. Good night.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Good night.
Bye.
We'll see you guys Friday night, everybody.
Aloha.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Good night.